welcome back. And today, let's continue the remaining topic. In last session, we discussed about the igneous rocks. That was the one subtopic of our main topic, rock. Now we are moving. We are heading next topic, next subtopic, and that is the sedimentary rock. So we are dealing with a different kind or different types of rocks. Those are found in our topmost crust. Let's continue with the sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rocks are basically the result of erosion, weathering, and deposition of igneous. I hope there is clarity regarding the formation or regarding the occurrence of igneous rock. I told you in previous session as well that when there is a magma or lava, when it is appearing on the surface, when it gets cool, as a result of cooling, there will be a formation of, there will be a solidification, and as a result of solidification, there would be an igneous rock. So when this igneous rock would be on the surface, let's say in this way, so when there is a igneous rock on the surface, so exogenetic forces would going to apply, and these exogenetic forces will result in weathering and erosion of igneous rock. They will lead to the removal of igneous rock, and igneous rock will be transformed in minute small particles called as sediments. Ultimately, sediments would lead to the deposition. When there is a deposition, constant layers would going to be formed. As a result of these layered wise arrangement of sediment, there will be a compaction, there will be a cementation, and ultimately sedimentary rocks. So that's why this igneous rock is being called as a primary rock, because all other rocks, sedimentary as well as the metamorphic, which we are about to see, these two set of rocks are actually being formed because of the igneous rock. So igneous rock is being called as a parent rock, you can say, or igneous rock can also primary rock, from which all other, sedimentary as well as metamorphic rocks are comprised of. So when we have this igneous rock, you can see when we have this igneous rock, this igneous rock is subjected to erosion and weathering. It led to the breakdown. The strength of igneous rock would going to be decrease as a result of erosion and weathering action, due to which what would happen, that this igneous rock going to be erosion as well as this will going to lose its texture, will be in small granules. These small granules, here we are referring sediments, loose material. Then this loose material will be deposited constantly, and when it will lead to the deposition, ultimately there will be a compaction, and as a result of there will be a formation. Here I just want to tell you one thing, that this igneous rock and sedimentary rock is basically comprised of igneous rock. So we would have a similar chemical properties, but the texture, but the structural properties, igneous rock is harder, whereas sedimentary rock will not be that much harder, because it is comprised of the loose particles rock. So when there is a loose particles, that much strength will not be there, especially in sediment. So when the igneous rock is there, removal is there, deposition is there, ultimately we rocks. Now let's have a more insight on the sedimentary rocks, the feature of sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are basically, as I told you, sedimentary rocks are basically comprised of loose sediments. We have a rock fragments. Suppose there is an igneous rock, if it is get eroded by the action of water, and due to the action of temperature and water, when there is a weathering, as a result of this, what would happen? Rock fragments would be there, mineral grains would be there, and yes, we could also have organic matter which could be there on the igneous rock, and that ultimately led to the sediments, especially in the sedimentary rock. Suppose, just take an example in this way. Suppose there is a mountain, there is a volcanic mountain, you can say, and when we have a volcanic mountain, as a result of appearing of lava on the surface, when there is a solidification, igneous rock would be there. And as a result of this igneous rock, suppose we could have some sort of mosses, grasses, or let's say trees could be there on that igneous rock. Suppose there is a removal, suppose there is a erosion and weathering action, so loose sediments are there, loose sediments of igneous rock is there, loose sediments of, you can say, the organic matter which is relying on that igneous rock, that would also be there. And all these means the igneous rock, loose material, as well as these organic material which is there, they will going to settle together. And when they will going to settle together, they actually led to the formation of fossils. Means if you carry out the investigation of sedimentary rocks, you can found some sort of evidences regarding the fossils, regarding the organism could be available at any given point of time. And ultimately, this process of compaction and cementation, you can see this particular image. So when we have this compaction and cementation, which we are actually referring as a lithification. So as a result of lithification, there will be a mature stage of formation of rock would be there. And in this sedimentary rock, we'll see that there are layered and they are layered structure, and this layered structure tells us that yes, there is no possible compaction which has been taken place for a different course of time. Here sediments, those who are derived, and these sediments which are actually deriving, the sediments are basically deriving from the pre-existing rocks, plants and animals. So suppose here in this case, we could have a tree here, could have some sort of animal here along with the rocks. They will also going to deposit the rocks with small loose material of rock, and ultimately that becomes a base for occurrence or finding of fossils in these kind of rocks, especially in sedimentary. In igneous rocks, I told you, like those rocks are actually aquatic, means you will not found any trace of. But when it comes to the sedimentary rocks, you will certainly found the trace of life. You will certainly found that which organism could have been there on our Earth's surface with respect to the geological history of our Earth. You might have seen that geologists or geographers or scientists have found some remains or some bones or some skeletons of dinosaurs, or let's say reptiles, mesosaurs you can also say, those who are not existing as of now. But if you are finding a skeleton, that means like during some 100 or 1000 years ago, they were actually present on our Earth's surface. So we have a trace of life, and this trace of life can be found when it comes to the sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rocks are contrastingly different from igneous rock in this way.